Okay, we're on Ketubot Perek Daled Mishnah Chet. And as many of you know, I almost never make these time related because Mishnah is timeless. But I had to re-record this Mishnah for obvious reasons that you will explain. Apparently, in the last time I recorded it 5.5 years ago, I spoke about the fact that Baruch Hashem, this Mishnah is something we don't really have to deal with anymore. And unfortunately, in light of the things that we've learned, I'm wearing this 100 sticker. We're now, if you're watching this, I don't know when you're going to watch this, but Be'ezrat Hashem in the future, we're now 100 days into the after Simchat Torah and Tafshin Pei Daled, and we're 100 days into the fact that there are still Israelis who are held as captives by Hamas. Now, this is not the shvuyim necessarily that the Mishnah was describing, but the idea of shvuyim, of the 100 days, is something that's strongly on our minds, and it shows us the relevance of the Mishnah, as we'll soon see. So we're talking about Tna'ei Ketubah, the inherent conditions of the Ketubah that Chazal determined were required. Chazal determined were necessary in order to, as part of a standard marriage, whether you wrote it or not. So among those requirements is a requirement to redeem your wife if she's captured. Said the Mishnah, Lo katavla, if he didn't write it in the Ketubah, im tishtabai, if you will become captured, Efrakinach, I will redeem you, votvinach lech into, and I will return you to me as my wife. Ubekohenet, and if she's a kohenet, ahadrinach lemedinatach, lemedinatach, I will return you to your medina. So chayav. Nonetheless, he's required to do so. Shu t'nai beitin, because that's a condition of beitin, the kanai of beitin. So actually, Chazal tell us that marriage back then was very much a monetary transaction. We hope that people loved each other, but it doesn't seem like that was necessary at all. Rather, the husband brought money into the family. The wife brought money into the family. So one of the things that the husband had a right to was the peirot of her sadot, the fruits of her sadot. Another element was called ma'aseh yadeh. The ma'aseh yadeh means the actions of her hands, the things that she earns with her hands that she works. And the husband also gets ma'aseh yadeh, gets both peirot and ma'aseh yadeh. Chazal tell us that pidyon, the obligation to redeem her, is in place of, or is in response to, or in payment back for the fact that he gets her peirot. So he already gets the rights to her peirot, so he has to, as a t'nai beitin, to redeem her. Im tishbetai, if you become captured, I will redeem you. V'otvina chalin, to return to you as my wife. Second part, kohenet, if she's a kohen, if he's eshet kohen, if he's a kohen, I'll bring you back to your parents' house, your father's house. Why? The Bartinera says, because he can't hold her. Because an eshet kohen, the wife of a kohen, is prohibited from to her husband, from when she is raped. And therefore, he has to divorce her. It's a tragic case. A kohen has to divorce her. But he has to chayav latet la ketubah. He sends her back to her father's house to pay her ketubah. Even though against his will he has to divorce her. He must divorce her. He can't retain her as his wife because we assume now. So this is what's really interesting. It seems clear that the idea of redeeming, that she was taken captive for monetary reasons. Right? You don't pay me, you owe me money, I'll take your wife until you pay me back. It doesn't seem that it was done for international reasons, or that's the implication, because there's an idea of efrakinach, I will redeem you. The reason why people can't take ransom is because they want to extort money. Now, lo aleinu, what we're talking about today is women taken captive, or men taken captive, just for, I guess not for money, but for extortion, for international reasons, to extort the release of captives, in order to just to harm the Jewish people. But nonetheless, the idea, but inherent in what the Bartinura says, is the assumption of that as soon as a woman is taken captive, she's sexually molested. And that we see, obviously we see from the women coming back, that happened just relentlessly, and that's something that still continues to this day. So even though we, thank God, we don't see the idea of women being taken captive for monetary reasons, we're now dealing with the idea of men and women being taken captive. Remember them. And maybe our learning of this Mishnah should be in their honor, and hopefully for this chut, that we shouldn't have to deal with this anymore, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bring them pidyon, redemption. And that should be our tefillah. We'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to my father, Rab Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Shalom Yom Maksim.